Yo, what's going on everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journey series. Today we're going to be covering episode 116 in today's review, and it's the Lance vs. Diantha episode. The second battle in the Masters 8 tournament. We also had some pretty interesting cameos in this episode. And yeah, we had a pretty interesting battle in today's episode. So who won? Was it Lance or Diantha? Stay tuned as I go through this episode review. But before I get into the episode review, I just gotta chill for a second. So if you're new to the channel, you're just discovering this video for the first time, and you think it's pretty cool, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, hit that notification bell, because I do episode reviews for the Pokemon Journey series. I discuss upcoming episode titles and summaries, and I also do live streaming on Mondays and Wednesdays, and sometimes some other days as well. So yeah, you should totally subscribe to the channel. That'd be pretty cool if you did that. But we should talk about episode 116 now. So the battle begins, and Lance brings out his Dragonite with Diantha bringing out her Aurorus. And I find this to be a pretty interesting matchup. It seems like Lance's strategy is sheer brute strength. As he uses Hyper Beam, he uses Body Press later on, just basically pummeling Diantha's Aurorus. And Diantha's plan is basically to fortify her Pokemon using Reflect and Light Screen, which is very crucial in this battle. I like how the other champions are basically pointing out that, yeah, she's actually got the upper hand because she's basically upped her defenses. So, yeah, Lance is fighting an uphill battle, but Leon's over here like, yeah, no, Lance has got this. He can push on through, which he literally does. Takes out Aurorus with Twister, and yeah, Diantha's the first one to lose a Pokemon in this match. For round 2, Lance recalls his Dragonite and takes out his red Gyarados. And it goes up against Diantha's Gourgeist. And yeah, Gourgeist actually has a disadvantage here. Yeah, if Gyarados gets a direct hit on it, yeah, it could be some trouble for Diantha. However, Reflect and Light Screen are still in effect. And that ends up saving Diantha here because, yeah, Gourgeist uses Trick or Treat on Gyarados, turns into a Ghost type, starts hitting it with effective moves. Although a few moves of Gyarados' land on Gourgeist, yeah, it's not enough, and Gyarados goes down. Now Lance takes out his second Pokemon, Hydreigon, which I thought was pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Even though it gets hit with a Trick or Treat by Gourgeist, Lance doesn't care. He pushes through, hits it with a Dark-type move, and at this point, Reflect and Light Scream have worn out. And yeah, one more hit takes out Gourgeist, which definitely disappoints Jessie over here, who also had a Gourgeist back in the X and Y series, so she wasn't too thrilled with this. So now Diantha's down to her last Pokemon, her ace, Gardevoir. So Diantha quickly Mega Evolves her Gardevoir, and yeah, it makes quick work of Hydreigon, so Lance is down to his last Pokemon now, his Dragonite, which has already sustained quite a bit of damage from the first round in this match. So yeah, it's not looking too good for Lance, but he decides to Dynamax his Dragonite to basically tip the scales here. So it's Mega Evolution versus Dynamax. Now I thought it was interesting that Lance has his Dragonite use Max Hailstorm, which, yeah, I'm not sure if that was the right move here. I see what Lance was doing, he's trying to weaken Mega Gardevoir, but at the same time, Dragonite is getting hit by Hail too, so yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. And next two moves, he tries to use Max Strike, which doesn't exactly work. Gardevoir tries to use Shadow Ball, and Dragonite counters it with a Dragon-type G-Max move, basically to offset it. It seems like Lance's strategy here was to quickly have Dragonite get out of its Dynamax state, and then use Hyper Beam to finish off Mega Gardevoir, which it seems like Diantha caught onto this, and even though, even though Mega Gardevoir here is in a state where it could get hit, she manages to evade the Hyper Beam and hits Dragonite with a Moonblast, defeating it, with Diantha winning the battle and advancing to the semifinals to face Leon. And with that said, this episode comes to an end, with Iris and Cynthia about to battle in the third round of the quarterfinals of the Masters 8 tournament. Okay, so overall, I thought this was a pretty good episode. It's definitely better than episode 115 because we got to see a full episode for this battle instead of a half episode with Alon versus Leon, which definitely should have been a lot longer than it was. So with this episode, it's a lot better. I like some of the strategies used. I think there were some questionable things here and there, which I'll get to in a little bit. But overall, I thought this was a fine episode, a fine battle, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, besides the battle, I just want to say that one thing I really loved in this episode was the continuity, because my goodness, the continuity in this episode was amazing. When they said there'd be some surprise appearances from characters in the Masters 8 tournament, they weren't kidding. I mean, we got some surprises in the previous episode, but in this episode, we got a lot more. So, for starters, when Lance comes out and he mentions that he's representing the people of Kanto and Johto, when it comes to Kanto, we get a cameo of Ritchie. Yes, let me say that again. A cameo of Ritchie, the kid who defeated Ash in the Indigo Plateau, way back when. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting Ritchie to make a cameo here. In fact, at this point, I kind of gave up on him ever appearing in the series again, or even in Journeys. But here it is, we got him. Even though he's in a non-speaking role, it's still cool that the series acknowledged him. So that's one thing. Now, when Lance mentions he's representing the people of Johto as well, we get a cameo of Jimmy, Marina, and Vincent from those Pokemon Chronicles episodes. I think it's like the episode with Raikou. I don't know if you guys have seen those episodes. You should check them out whenever you get a chance. But basically, Jimmy and Marina are the anime counterparts of Ethan and Chris from the Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal games. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. Now on the other side, when Diantha mentions that she's representing the people of Kalos, we see cameo appearances of Tierno, Trevor, Shauna, and Sawyer from X and Y. And that was cool. I was not expecting that at all, especially Sawyer. I'm pretty sure at this point he wasn't going to make an appearance. And I was kind of hoping he'd be in the Pokemon World Championships. It's kind of a little bit of a letdown that he wasn't part of it, because it'd be cool to see him and Ash battle once again. But, you know, it's cool that the series acknowledged him again. So I thought that was also pretty cool as well. Now, besides the cameos in this episode, other continuity nods I thought were pretty cool in this episode were the fact that Ash acknowledged that he battled Diantha before. That was cool. I would have liked him to elaborate a little bit more, maybe a small flashback scene here, but what we got here is pretty nice anyways. Then we have Jessie basically gushing over the fact that Gourgeist was on the battlefield, and then she had one back when she was in the X and Y series. So that was pretty cool as well. And then when Excadrill was brought out by Iris, Ash got super excited about that, you know, acknowledging it from the Best Wishes series. So yeah, I thought all the continuity nods in this episode were really cool. Now, going back to the battle. Now, well, overall, I thought this was an enjoyable battle. It's not a perfect battle. While I do think some things are pretty neat, like some of the strategies used here, and like the fact when Lance was using the Dragon type G-Max move to basically counteract Gardevoir's Shadow Ball. Ash is the one to point out that he wasn't using it on Gardevoir since it's not effective against it. Stuff like that's pretty cool, but for the actual battle, I will say one thing that I felt was lacking was the animation in the episode. It was okay. It definitely wasn't like a highlight, and it's not the worst looking battle, but we're in the Masters 8. I was kind of expecting a little bit more. This is not the biggest deal in the world, so don't take my opinion here too seriously. But at the same time, we're kind of in the Masters 8, so I'm kind of expecting the battles to be like super flashy and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully some of the future matches look a little bit more flashier and there's more Sagia in the animation. I don't know. Not the biggest deal in the world, like I said. This is more subjective, but in my opinion, could have been a little bit better. I also wasn't a big fan of Gyarados versus Gourgeist. I mean, it was pretty neat that Gourgeist was able to win, though I felt like Gyarados went down a little too easily. And I get that Gourgeist's defense was buffed here, but still, I feel like Gyarados went down in like 2 hits, I believe. 2 or 3 hits. And that's it. That's Lance's ace. He goes down just like that. It felt like it lasted a lot longer against Leon's Charizard, which his Charizard's busted. You're telling me Gourgeist over here basically took down Gyarados this easily? I don't know, that was kind of underwhelming in my opinion. And then the end of the battle, well, there were some neat strategies used here between the two. I thought that Lance's strategy was kind of wonky at the end. So his strategy was basically to take out Diantha with Hyper Beam, but to basically kind of distract it so that he uses Shadow Ball against his Dragon G-Max move. And then he was going to shrink down with Dragonite, then Hyper Beam Gardevoir and win. Which, yeah, that didn't quite work. He didn't weaken Gardevoir quite enough to do that. He could have at least, stunned her, kind of like he did with Gourgeist earlier when it was battling against Hydreigon. And yeah, he kind of didn't. He kind of didn't do that again, and yeah, got taken down. So I guess you're taking that L for a reason, Lance. Kind of messed up your strategy here in the end. So yeah, a little flimsy in the end, but still overall, this is still a pretty enjoyable battle. Alrighty, guys, that's all I got for this episode review. So despite a few flaws, I think this episode was fine. It definitely is much better than the previous episode. This battle is more in line with what I want to see with the Masters 8 battles. I just hope that the animation in some of the future battles is a little bit better than this one. But I'll keep my expectations in check for that. But anyways, for this episode, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. A great rating. So I definitely recommend checking this episode out. And yeah, that's all I got. So in the comment section down below, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think of this episode? What do you think of this battle? Are you satisfied with the results? Are you happy with this episode? Do you dislike this episode? Either way, I'd like to hear your thoughts. And if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and join me for my streams each week. And yeah, that's all I got. So, yeah. I'll probably just end off the video here. So, guys, have a great day or night wherever you're at, and I'll see you all later. Peace.